Hello, students. So, the story in the Kingdom of Fools by in Kannada, it's an example of Kannada folk lore or folk tale. It's about a kingdom by a ruled by a vain and foolish king, whose orders are blindly carried out by his equally unwise group of ministers. It is also the story of a greedy disciple who refuses to pay heed to the words of caution offered by his guru. This story can be read in two levels, one just as a funny entertainer, and the other as an allegory on the follies and foibles of the so called great kings and ministers. Even though the events described in the story take place in the bygone era, when kings were ruling the kingdoms, everything in the story seems to have some relevance and significance in the present socio political scenario. When we look at the story from that angle, the story is indeed a fantastic allegory, which criticizes the waywardness and power thirst of our ministers, political leaders, and bureaucrats. The story can also be read as a story that tells us the fact that we must be very cautious and careful when we come into contact with foolish people, because foolish people are unpredictable and can be very dangerous. What they may think or may not think or may do or may not do, nobody can say for sure. So even if we may get some short term benefit from them, it is better to stay away from them. And only the wise, intelligent, and diplomatic people, like the character of Guru in the story, can deal with them or manage them. The events that are described in the story take place in the kingdom where the king and minister are idiots. So, since they wish to rule the kingdom in a different way from other kings, they reversed the order of the day. They ordered everyone to be awake at night and do their respective work, while during the day everyone must sleep. So, it was an order from the king, and everyone had to follow this foolish practice. It's interesting that none of the characters have been given names, keeping with the tradition of folklore. The system of justice in this kingdom is not based on logic. Instead, the whimsical king and the ministers take decisions arbitrarily. The power hungry king lacks foresight and is easily fooled by the wise guru. So, let us understand the story. I request you all to go through the story, and then we can discuss the plot, the setting, or in other words, all the elements of the story and the characters. So, as you all know, the story is about the kingdom of fools, and in this kingdom, both the king and the minister are idiots. So, in order to be different from other kingdoms, they decide to change night into day and day into night. And they order the people to work all throughout the night and sleep at sunrise. As not following this rule would result in the punishment, the people do as they are told. So much to the delight of the king and the minister. So they feel very happy. One day, a guru and his disciple arrive in the city only to find that no one is outside Everyone, including the animals, all are asleep. Once evening descends, they see the townspeople, coming up, going here and there. There is hustle and bustle. The guru and disciple go to a grocery store and find that everything costs the same, a dudu. So they are very happy because they can buy anything for just a rupee. Soon the Guru realizes that this is a kingdom of fools and feels that it is not wise for them to stay there. However, the disciple is reluctant to leave because food is very cheaply available there. The Guru warns him that as this is a kingdom of fools, they do not know what may happen next. So when the disciple does not listen, the Guru decides to leave. The disciple stays behind and eats to his heart's content every day. Eventually, he becomes obese. One day, a thief breaks into a merchant's house by making a hole in the wall of the house. After stealing, he attempts to escape through the same hole, but the wall collapses on him and he dies. The thief's brother complains to the king. He says that his brother's death is the merchant's fault and the latter should be made to compensate for the family's loss. The king promises to deliver justice and summons the merchant. When the merchant agrees that the thief had broken into his house and had the wall collapse on him, the king declares that the merchant has pleaded guilty for the murder of the thief. The merchant then says that the fault lies with the person who built the wall poorly. The merchant says that the bricklayer who built the wall years ago is now an old man. The king then summons the bricklayer. So, like this, everyone connected to the building of the wall is called. And then finally, they come to a conclusion after consulting his minister. He announces that since the actual culprit is dead, someone must be punished in his place. So, as his son has inherited his riches from his father, he has inherited his father's sins as well. So, then he must die. The king orders his servant to build a new stake for the merchant's execution. While the servants are sharpening the stake, it occurs to the minister that the merchant is too thin to be executed this way. The king is worried as well. So they decide on a simple solution that they must find a man fat enough to fit the stake. And now comes the chance of this disciple because he has become an obese person and he gets into trouble. People select him to be executed. Then he goes to the rescue of his, guru. Then he seeks his guru's help. He comes with a solution and he makes up a story with all his wisdom. And ultimately, we all know who dies in the end, both the king and his minister. So I hope you all have enjoyed the story. So bye all of you.